Tell us about your, first of all, coming, I know you're originally from Cleveland, Tennessee, left to go to New York, and then came back to, came to Nashville.
Came to Nashville.
So tell us about that journey.
6 years ago. Well, I'm from East Tennessee. I was born in a small town in East Tennessee and had always wanted to be in New York as a kid. I used to read the encyclopedia entry of New York City over and over and over again. I was kind of obsessed with New York. And I don't know how I thought I was going to get there. But I knew I would get there eventually. I just knew that I would live there someday. And I'm a writer. My background is writing. I've been writing for most of my life in some capacity. So undergraduate studies, I studied English literature and wrote for different papers and community newspapers in Virginia and then in Knoxville, Tennessee, where I ended up getting my degree. And then after waiting tables for about a year and sort of figuring out what I wanted to do, I decided I definitely want to go straight into journalism. So I moved home to my hometown, Cleveland, Tennessee, right above Chattanooga, and worked at my hometown newspaper for about a year and a half. And at that point I was really into music, and I thought I wanted to be a rock critic. Like, I was writing about music and, you know, really involved in the indie music scene, rock scene in the Southeast, I guess. And was going to take that to New York. Like, I really wanted to write for Spin or Rolling Stone or something. But I started sending these letters out to the magazines saying, hey, I'd be a great intern, I'd be da-da-da-da-da. Which, you know, probably hundreds of people are doing that too. So I decided I was going to go to grad school. And this wonderful program at New York University's Graduate School of Arts and Sciences started the semester I applied, which was, it was called Cultural Reporting and Criticism. And basically it was for people who wanted to write about the arts and culture and not, it has the tenets of straightforward journalism, like reporting. But anyway, so I took things like that, but I was also writing about fashion at the same time, because my ideal topic of conversation and topic of reporting and writing is where music and fashion intersect. And that's why it's unreal that my friends P and Lee asked me to open in a music store, because and a music store that caters to women, because as a feminist and as a sometime musician and as a lover of fashion, it couldn't be a better place. That Diamond Star Halo Vintage came about just because I've got a shopping addiction. I managed to kick all my other addictions, but I have got a shopping addiction. And I call it shopping with impunity, because everything I make here goes right back into the clothes. Like, this is a total hobby that's gotten out of control. Lovely, gloriously out of control. I've been collecting vintage since I was thinking about it today, knowing I was going to do this interview, and I'm like, I guess I started secondhand shopping when I was a little girl. My mom was an antique dealer, so I used to go to flea markets as a child, like as a 4-year-old. So I've been collecting antique clothes and textiles for 35 years. Oh my goodness. But I started thrifting and thinking about dressing secondhand after I saw Pretty in Pink in high school. Molly Ringwald is a huge influence on me. So I started doing that, and I was really preppy in college. I went to a really preppy college, but I was still that girl who wore Laura Ashley in combat boots. You know, I've always wanted to push it. But I just started collecting more vintage, I guess. About 20 years ago, I really got into collecting it in the early 90s. And like you said, you're still addicted. I'm still addicted. I remember last time we came in here, there was stuff falling off the racks. We were trying to look through clothes, and there was like, oh, it's falling. I know, I'm having a sale because, got this beautiful shirt. Got this from the Diamond Star Halo Vintage store, so I was able to pick this out. There was like tons of stuff here, which is great. It's good. I know, it's a lot to choose from. And what I try to do, and I haven't done it in a while, the summer's been kind of crazy, but I like to travel. I love to travel, and so I put where I find everything on the tags. Right, on the tags. Let's see where this one comes from. Oh, that one doesn't say it. But like this beautiful red leather skirt. Love it. Oh, I found it in Nashville, but I apologize in advance for my chicken scratch. She found it, what it is, how much you get it for. Yeah, and I do that on all of them. So you can find, I mean, a lot of it came from Nashville, but like this skirt, I turned 40 in the spring. I went to Paris for my birthday, so I got this skirt in Paris. Paris, everyone. Yeah.
Kitty.
So, but there are Paris and there's
Wow.
random stuff. Just
Great.
random places. random.
Cool.
But I just buy what I like, even if it fits me. Sometimes I keep it and then I sell it. Or I just keep it. But I like to think that ostensibly I would wear everything in here. When I got out of grad school in '96, I was unemployed for a while, and the first job I was able to get was as an assistant at the New York Post.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
the first
I
job?
know. Yeah, I know. But I was doing temp work at different magazines, and my roommates were writing for Condé Nast magazine, so I was like going in and spending time at, at some of those magazines working part time. I was at the Village Voice for a couple of weeks, just sort of played around like that. But when I started at the Post, I was in the women's section. That was in 1997, and I just kept pushing them, telling them I wanted to write about fashion. I was ready to write about fashion. I'd been sneaking into fashion shows. I know one of my good friends from grad school, who was also interested in fashion, he ended up being my roommate. It's when security was really lax and you could sneak into shows. You can't sneak into shows anymore.
Don't try it. No,
don't try it. Oh God. But yeah, we snuck in. I remember we snuck in Nicole Miller and Betsy Johnson. And it was like the Betsy Johnson show blew my mind because it was an ode to Patti Smith, who, a punk feminist icon. So that was fabulous.
Wow.
That sort of like blew my mind.
Okay.
But then I've kept on figuring out ways to go to fashion shows. And then when I got to the Post, after about a year, they pretty much let me become the sole fashion writer. And then after 2 more years, I became the fashion editor.
Wow.
And so I pretty much I covered Fashion Week starting in early '97, like New York Fashion Week every year up until about 5 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. As a newspaper journalist, I would start at 8 o'clock in the morning going to shows. I would schedule my photographers weeks in advance. And I did have some stringers working with me, so I had some help covering them. Okay. But I was the main writer, and I did the main coverage. And so I would have to come up with a theme, go to like 6 shows during the day, write a complete spread, edit photos to go on the spread, write the story, lay it out. That would go to print at 6. Go back out and go to 3 more shows. File another story before midnight, before the second edition. So it's like, Fashion Week it looks fun and glamorous, but if you're working it, it's exhausting.
I can imagine.
It's
Take a look at Rachel Zell. You think about her, it's like, oh, it's so fun. She's like crazy, ripping and running, going everywhere. All those shows.
Oh, I know. And it's like, and you have to. She's a little bit different now. But when I knew Rachel when we were.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She was at Teen Magazine. I think it was Teen. It was one of those magazines. She was in Jersey for a while, like working at a magazine out there. She's like all of us. She started out.
Really?
She worked really hard.
Yeah.
And was not Rachel Zoe. She was. Her name was different, actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So she, she worked really hard. I have a lot of respect for her. But that show glamorizes the whole industry.
Yeah, right.
It's like, it's really hard work. And even, I was giving the Vogue girls a hard time, but like even the magazine girls, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It is exhausting.
But it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are definitely worse things to do. Believe me, I didn't want to go and cover labor disputes in the Midwest. I didn't want to do that when I signed up for journalism.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was like, I'll take the glamour.
Yeah.
I'll take the glamour. Okay. Yeah, so, that was...
So you said you did that up until about 5 years ago, and then what turned you around and made you want to come to Nashville?
Well, I covered for a while after I moved here, but God, it was really good. I had a really good run at the Post. Like, I would go and do the shows in Europe, and I would do shopping stories where they flew me to Brazil for 4 days to shop in Sao Paulo. I mean, like, go down and shop. Yeah. It was a rough job. It was a fabulous job. Yeah. I spent, 5 months working in Australia, and like, it was really, really a special job. And I love those people at the Post. I love them. But it got exhausting. Yeah. And I was killing myself for a lot of different reasons. There, it was mentally taxing, surrounded by people who loved me and felt safe, but I knew that I was not doing myself any favors. And I also knew it was time to leave. Yeah. And I didn't want any other jobs. Like, I didn't want to. My only other option was going up, you know, trying to become an editor at a magazine, and I didn't want to do that.
Okay.
Like, I didn't know, that was never my MO. I moved to New York never knowing that I wanted the job I had.
Right.
So, like, I fell into this job absolutely having zero idea what it was. Zero idea.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been really interested in fashion and, you know, followed it and been fascinated by designers and fascinated by clothes. But when it was time to leave, it's like all these good things were happening, but they never made me happy.
Okay.
There was always like this, oh wow, everything's happening the way it's supposed to, and there are thousands of women who would love more than anything in the world to have this happen to them. I know. But like, it just didn't make me happy.
Okay.
And I've worked so hard.
Nashville just to slow it down a little bit? Or?
Yeah, and also because I had a lot of friends here.
Okay.
Being from East Tennessee, and I used to come down here all the time.
Right.
And I had a lot of friends in the music industry who had, you know, moved up the ranks.
Right.
And in the back of my mind, I always knew I wanted to do some styling. And because I'd put together fashion supplements at the Post. I started doing these, it was called NYPF, New York Post Fashion. Okay. And we did biannual supplements that came out. They were like 20 pages long. We did photo shoots for them, and it was great. My first photo shoot that I organized, we got Iman to model. I know.
Are you kidding me?
Love me some Iman.
So
yeah, I know.
How do you do this?
I know. And like Anna Swee got Zoe Cassavetes to come and model for us, and like, but it was just, I'll tell you, I got everywhere I got in New York by being nice. Yeah. And by not pulling punches, and by being fair, and by making friends.
That's a long way.
And I made friends with all these designers, and so they were happy to cooperate and do our crazy little, hey kids, let's put on a show fashion shoot that, you know, it was amazing. I couldn't believe what we did. I still can't believe that what we pulled out of our back pockets. But I knew doing that, like I was hiring the stylists at that point. So this was, I knew that I wanted to go on the other side of the camera, I guess. Okay. You know, in a way. Okay. So I had that in the back of my mind, but I got a job at the Tennessean. Like, I knew it was time to leave New York when I started poking around for jobs, and the perfect job opened here
at the Tennessean.
Yeah, the Tennessean. So it made sense. And
so at the Tennessean, you were doing.
I was one of the features editors. I was the life editor. Okay. And and then I helped them revamp the Rage. It used to be called. No, it used to be called The Rage. Now it's called All the Rage. Now it's called Metro Mix. Metro Mix. It was. We changed the name. Yeah, I had to turn it from the slim thing into the tabloid. So I helped redesign that, and they made me the editor of it. So I was the editor of the Rage, All the Rage, which is now Metro Mix. Jesus. For 6 months. Okay. And then I decided I was done.
You're done with that?
Yeah, I was done. Okay. And I went freelance, so I decided to, you know, become a stylist.
And okay, so tell us, where can we come and find your beautiful store?
Ooh, we are in East Nashville at 1101 Holly Street, at the corner of 11th Street. We're right next door to Bongo Java. It's a little blue Victorian house. Fanny's House of Music is the name of the store. Diamond Star Halo is the name of my vintage store. We're open Monday through Saturdays, 11 to 6, and Sunday 1 to 5.
All right. Thank you so much,
No
Libby.
problem. Always fun to see you guys.